Hi, I'm Cailey, a librarian here at Mentor Public Library.
And I'm Meg, also a librarian, and welcome to this week's edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg, where each time we give you different book recommendations on a specific theme. I'm very excited about today's episode because today's theme is going to be wedding fiction. And we're excited for why we're doing this one today, because by the time you guys are watching it, our beloved Cailey is going to be married. Cailey, we're so happy for you. And I'm just really excited to celebrate the way we can on this show by recommending wedding books.
Thank you. Yes. And behind the scenes, we've been talking about weddings all year. So
right.
kind of fun to have a fiction element to this. Yeah. And all of the books that we're going to talk about today are available for you at the library, as well as online via Libby and Hoopla with your library card.
So Cailey, what is your first wedding book?
So my first wedding book is actually a YA title. And this one is called Save the Date by Morgan Matson. And this one is about teen girl Charlie, who is very excited because her older sister is getting married. And not only that, but her older sister plus her other siblings are all going to be home for the wedding weekend because it's happening at their house. And her older sister, Linny, has always dreamed of having her wedding at their house. And so it's sort of a little bittersweet, though, because after the wedding, her parents are selling it. And Charlie is the youngest of 5 kids. So that's a lot of family to contend with in general. But she is really excited to have all of her siblings back in their old home for this weekend and kind of hoping to relive a lot of the stuff that they used to do together, as well as get their advice on the next steps for her own life because she has to pick a college soon. So they say that weddings can bring out the best and the worst in people, and Charlie is totally seeing that right now. Not only are things going wrong left and right, the house alarm won't stop going off. There's some issues with the electricity. There's a storm forecasted for the weekend, which is going to ruin everything. And the justice of the peace is missing. But on top of that, there's relatives who aren't speaking to one another. Her favorite brother brought home this awful girlfriend that nobody likes. And there's just a lot of stuff going on with the sibling dynamics here, especially because, Charlie was building up to this weekend with certain expectations of what they were going to do together and how they were going to spend time together. And now it's not really panning out the way that she envisioned. So this weekend is causing a lot of stress for the whole family, of course. There's a lot of things that they love about one another, but when you put everybody together, everybody starts picking at one another too. So things are changing with the family as time moves on, and Charlie kind of has to accept that too, along with all of the other changes going on. This one was a really great family book, like talking about all the family dynamics, the sibling dynamics, the parent-child dynamics, just the changing of life. Like she's preparing for college, her sister's getting married. These are big changes in life and how those affect you and your family and like the loved ones around you. And of course, there is the chaos of wedding planning, something I'm very familiar with. And just all of the things that can go wrong will go wrong. So there's a lot of humor and a lot of heart in this book.
Oh, adorable. Sounds wonderful. And to your point, what I really like is, we think of these big life events almost in isolation. So like a wedding or like a graduation, college, but then like this story sounds like it's all happening at once. So it's just like you said, the chaotic nature of it, just the family, all of the different characters intermingling and how this big life event changes everyone. So I love it. Absolutely fantastic. My first wedding book is called 4 Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And this is a hilarious book. It's actually the second in a series, but it's so funny. And it's really the kind of book you don't have to read the first one, but you're probably going to want to, even if you read this one first, because it's just so delightful. And it's called the Aunties series. The first one was called Dial A for Aunties. And basically the gist of it is it's this girl, Medi, who solves murders with the help of her mischievous and 4 wacky aunties. So they're just as funny as almost an understatement for how hilarious these guys are. So in this one, it's perfect, the wedding theme, because even in the first book, we learn that the family business, when they're not solving crimes, is they plan weddings. That's their family trade. In fact, their tagline is hilarious. It's "Don't leave your big day to chance, leave it to the Chans." Chans is their last name. So it's the perfect tagline. But in this one, it's the protagonist's turn to get married herself, Medi. So she's planned weddings, helped the family her whole life. She's been to so many, but now it's her turn. And rather than like have her family plan it for her, she wants them to take a chance to relax. They've done so many, she wants to decide how this wedding is going to be. Maybe not necessarily all her aunties and all that, but what happens is the family wedding planning company they do go to is a little mysterious. So at first they're very excited. It's a Chinese Indonesian family, just like that, run company just like them. And the main girl that she works with to plan her wedding, Stephanie, they get along great at first. It's like this couldn't go better. But one day, Medi overhears Stephanie talking to someone about taking out a target. And when I say taking out a target, I'm talking like Godfather taking out. Okay. So Medi realizes this is not happy family business like her own. This is like a Godfather mafia family. And all of a sudden she's trying to prevent a murder at the same time as planning a wedding. What could be crazier? And of course, the 4 aunties have to get in on this as well. And all of a sudden the whole family is trying to juggle a wedding and avoiding a murder all at the same time. It's wild, it's fast paced, and you're not going to want to put it down. You could probably read it in one sitting.
That sounds so fun. I love the family dynamics. And it makes sense to me that, if you're a wedding planner, you don't want to plan it yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I like I've seen these books and the covers of them are just delightful. And I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but it really makes it enticing to read it.
Very colorful, beautiful. Yeah, I agree.
Yes. All right. My next book is called The Wedding Season by Katy Birchall. And this one's brand new, came out this spring.
Okay.
And this is about Freya, who has 8 weddings to go to this year. The first of which is her own, to her longtime boyfriend, Matthew.
Yeah.
And I will say I've gone to 4 within a year, one of which being my own. And it can be exhausting to go to so many weddings. Yeah. So I can understand right off the bat why Freya's not looking forward to all of this stuff this year. But so back to the book, Freya's fiance, Matthew, calls off their wedding the day before it's supposed to happen. So how horrible is that? I mean, yes. And this is her longtime boyfriend she's been with for 12 years. So this came out of nowhere. Not only that, he says that she's boring and she doesn't like any adventure. So on top of crushing her with, canceling the wedding, he comes out and insults her with all of these things. So now Freya is left to go to 7 more weddings solo this year. And she's not exactly happy about that. So her 2 good friends, Ruby and Leo, help her to make a list of challenges, one for each wedding, to help Freya get through this wedding season. And there's nothing too crazy on these lists, but something to help distract Freya and sort of help her focus from her breakup when she goes to these weddings. For instance, at one wedding, she's supposed to be the last one dancing, that kind of thing. Yeah, nothing too crazy, but as Freya finds herself going through these wedding seasons, she finds herself sort of learning more about life, love, and what she really wants out of life, and with a partner and things like that. And she's finding herself opening up more. And these challenges that her friends have helped her come up with have really helped her to sort of come out of her box a little bit and kind of realize that maybe it wasn't so bad that Matthew called off their wedding, because maybe that's not what she wanted in a relationship after all. And it's sort of great for her to be surrounded by friends during this time. And, maybe she'll even find a new love interest along the way. So this one takes place in England, so it's British, so it's got some fun British witticisms in it, but it's really funny, and you go through all of the weddings with her, so you are just, a little overwhelmed with them yourself as to how many she's going to, and all of the differences between the weddings, because every wedding is a little bit different. So it's fun and a good one for someone who has gone to a lot of weddings in the last year as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like, I from experience know that as well. My family's fairly small, but like, I seem like one summer, like I had 3 family weddings to go to. And I know it can definitely be a crazy time, but also fun.
Yes.
But I love the challenges. That is adorable. I mean, especially if you're going to be going to them and maybe you're going through something like she was. So I like that, to kind of challenge yourself and get through it. Wonderful. My last wedding book is called The Best Man by Kristan Higgins. And sometimes the best man is the one you least expect. So this book kind of looks at 3 weddings over time, or 3, I should say, prospective weddings. Maybe they don't happen in the book. And what our main character is Faith. And it begins, the first wedding is kind of like how yours began, the last one you talked about. She gets left at the altar. And, she's kind of like in your book, kind of unexpected. And she moves in, as a result of this, she moves from her hometown in New York to San Francisco. And so she's got a whole career in San Francisco. She's living her life there. But one day she is summoned back by her sister to the family vineyard in New York for what is considered an emergency. And this is the emergency. Their widowed father is being hunted by a gold digger. A mercenary gold digger is after their father. So the sister says, you have to come and help prevent this at all costs. They cannot get married. So she's like, okay, I have some demons here in this old vineyard town, but I'm going to do it. So when she gets there, she doesn't just help her father. She runs into old Levi Cooper, and Levi Cooper, it was her old fiance's best friend. Okay. So Levi maybe had a little bit to do why that first wedding stopped. So she kind of hates this guy. Okay. But as she meets him more, they kind of run into each other incidentally throughout the book. She discovers maybe she didn't know everything about him. So he's got pretty green eyes. He's kind of nice. And maybe there were some things she didn't know about why the first wedding ended. So as a result, maybe I don't want to spoil it, but maybe there's another wedding that happens, and I won't share everything, but it's a tender book. It's a tender look at weddings, goes into her relationship with her father, of course. And what's also very cute is there's a look at the wedding between her older sister and her husband. They've been married 22 years, and it's kind of as comic relief. How do they spice up their marriage? So we're looking at young, just married people, and also spicing it up. So it's a little bit of everything, but it's very sweet.
Nice.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this edition, very special, in my opinion, edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg. I just want to say congratulations again, Cailey, and best of luck for your happily ever after with John.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you enjoy some of these wedding reads as well and get in the wedding spirit with us. And happy reading.